Okay, stop.
Okay. How I got to brain wellness was a friend of mine, Jodie, she told me about you guys, that she found you on the internet, and I said, yeah, I'll be the guinea pig. I'll go. And I was absolutely desperate at this stage because I had gotten into such a state in the middle of last year where I couldn't leave the house, and I got diagnosed with PTSD. I had a son who passed away 8 years ago, and he was born at 25 weeks, and he lived for 6, and he ended up with meningitis, so we had to turn his life support off, and it was very, very traumatising. And then 4 months after he passed away, I fell pregnant with my daughter and ended up in hospital with her at 20 weeks, having surgery to keep her in, and was told that I was going to lose her as well. And we made it through to 32, and she was born healthy and at a good weight, and she stayed in prem ward for 4 weeks. And yeah, so that was very traumatic as well. I was on a lot of antidepressants at the time, and yeah, it was a very full-on 2 years that I only really realised the effect of that last year. It all kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. So after Ella, who's my first, who was in prem ward, she came out, she's survived, she's healthy, happy. I had Finn, and she is now 5, and she was a full-term pregnancy. That was, it was the best one. Still a lot of bed rest and a lot of upheaval. I moved down from Karratha and had to be with Mum in Bustleton to have that pregnancy. So it was a bed rest pregnancy as well. And this is all in under 3 years. And then after Finn was born, she was 9 weeks old, and I got really sick with an autoimmune condition, which was absolutely awful. And then I ended up separating from their dad when Finn was about 8 months and Ella was just about 3, and he was very abusive, and still to this day is, and that it was just an awful time, and I had to go basically get away from where I was and move down south to my mum and dad.
So your life was pretty full on.
It was full on.
It was
from 2008
yeah.
when I lost Kobe.
Yeah.
When we lost Kobe, it was full on.
Yeah.
And I didn't really. I just kept going. I just kept, I thought I'd dealt with Kobe and everything, and because in my family we get up and we're staunch and we, it's okay, you get on with it. You've had a rough trot. You kind of. So anyway, I moved to a school at the start of this year.
Because you're a teacher, aren't you?
I'm a teacher, yeah. I'm a pre-primary teacher. I moved to a school at the start of the year, and it had a big focus on trauma in children, which is excellent. They do wonderful things. But I got sent to a couple of trauma PDs, and I ended up... I saw the things that were symptoms of PTSD. I recognised in myself, and I just got to a stage where I just went downhill really fast. Ended up talking to Jodie, which out of the blue she called me, which was really strange because we only talked to each other on the holidays because we're both teachers. And she said, I found this place. And I said, what's this place? And she said, you have to go online and have a look at it. Look at all the testimonials. It looks for real. And I said, yeah, righto. Well, I've with my autoimmune condition, I found a doctor online and went to see her in the States. So I have tried, she goes, I don't know if this place is for real. And I said, look, I've tried something that I found online before and it was for real. So I kind of have a bit more trust in... Anyway, so I came in and I was an absolute mess. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't have a conversation with anyone without breaking down, or I wasn't even there when I was talking to anyone. I couldn't focus. My work was not anywhere near as good as it could be. I was stressed. I just was an absolute mess, and I've never been like that in my life. So I got diagnosed with. I went to the doc after I went on stress leave. I just literally got up one day and I couldn't go to work. I got dressed and got to the front door and I just went, can't do this. I just can't do it. So I went to the doctor, got time off work, went to the doctor, and she said, you've got PTSD. I said, what's that? And she said you need some time off. So I had a bit of long service, and that's when I was planning to take that term 3. That's when Jodie called me, because I was looking at the antidepressant route and anti-anxiety, which I'd been on before, but because of my condition it's really hard for me to take any medication. So I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. So I talked to Jodie, and I thought, right, I'll do this. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what else to do. So I called you and talked to you, and I got an appointment with Kylie. And the first appointment, I had no idea what to expect, and I remember coming in and sitting in the lovely chair and just going, well, this is strange, isn't it? And, you know, talk to Kylie about why I was there, and, you know, that was the usual therapy, because I've been in therapy before.
So you tried
I've been
counselling?
Oh, I tried everything.
Have you been to a psychiatrist?
Yep, tried the drugs, tried the everything, and
okay.
Yeah, I was actually seeing a psychologist when I came here, which I've seen a psychologist on and off since Kobe, but it just didn't work.
So did you find you talk about your problems, but your brain was still the same when you went home?
Didn't make any difference.
No. And that was how
if
many
anything,
years?
I knew that when I went to the psych, I would come out and I would be worse for a couple of days, because it was so draining and so exhausting. But I didn't know what else to do. There was nothing else out there that could help. So when I, thought, right, I'll make this appointment, come in.
Because your friend didn't come in, you were the guinea pig, weren't you?
I was the guinea pig. I was the first one. I said, I'm going to do it. Yep, I don't care how much it costs me. I just have to do this. And so I came in just going, righto, what's this about? In this lovely room, it smells really nice, and yep, okay, this is different. And Kylie was beautiful. She's just so lovely. Talked about why I was there. We did a bit of paperwork about, where I was on the scale of anxiety, and I've done tests like that with having kids and stuff, the depression and anxiety test. And then she said, okay, put these headphones on, and righto. So I had the headphones on. She goes, just relax, turn the lights off, and this beautiful music comes through, and I could hear her talking through the music, and I remember her saying, don't try and figure out what I'm talking about, just
because what we do is we talk to your unconscious brain, but you can hear the mumble, can't you?
I know
but
that now, yeah.
But you can't hear the actual words, no.
So the whole 40 minutes, or however long I was there for, it's usually about 40 minutes, I remember laying there just going, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? How is this going to help me? Like, okay, I'm relaxed, this is great, it's really chilled out. The whole time I didn't go to sleep, because I can't just fall asleep, I'm not like that. I went in and out of relaxation. I was very relaxed, and I didn't realise how deeply relaxed I was until Kylie, she taps you on the foot to wake you up, kind of, to bring you back. Up until the very last, I just remember thinking, this isn't going to work. How can this work? What am I doing? Okay, alright, just go. And she woke me up, and I came out of it, sort of woke up out of the state I was in. I remember looking around, and Kylie said, so how do you feel? And I literally could not believe what I was feeling.
Describe it.
It was like I'd walked around.
For how many years?
With a weight.
Yeah. How many?
These are tears of happiness. It makes me so emotional to think of it, because to think how far down I'd got.
Yeah.
And how, but it was like this weight that I'd had for 7 years at that stage, 7 years, had just gone. And the relief was just, wow. I couldn't, it was like all the happy feelings I'd had that had been stomped on over the last 7 years by Kobe dying and all the stuff I'd been through were gone. It was gone, and I couldn't, I looked inside. She goes, how does your head feel? And I literally looked inside my head to try and find the depression and the anxiety, and I had to search around. It was, I can see it now, and there was nothing. It was like, in my mind I pictured an empty room with white walls, and I knew that, to try and describe this is really hard, but I knew that the feelings were, or that the memories were there. The memories were there, and the knowledge that what I've been through was there, of course. Didn't forget a thing, but it was like I couldn't get to it. My thoughts couldn't connect with the emotion, and it was, I kept testing it for the first week. I tested it every 5 minutes. I'd search inside my head to see if it was still there. No, it's still, it was like somebody had swept my head out with a broom, and it was the most, it was like, just elated.
So you did 6-7 years of psychotherapy, and in one session, on and off, and in one session, we removed the pain and suffering out of your life.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I cannot explain enough how phenomenal it felt. It was just, I've never felt anything like it. It had lifted. It swiped my depression in one session. It was gone. And I walked out of here feeling like literally I was on cloud 9, and I rang my partner. He missed my calls. He was doing something or other, and he got 5 missed calls from me. I called my sister-in-law, who I'm very close to. I called my mum. I called everyone I could think of on the way home, and just said, it's gone. It's gone. I can't believe it's gone. There's nothing there. It's just, wow. Like I felt like I was 25 again before all of this stuff had happened to me. And it knocked it out of the park. It knocked it out of my head, and it was the most amazing and surreal. I still can't really quite believe it, that it's happened. And I got home, and Todd, my partner, he said he just watched me for 3 days, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing, because I was so, he said, you just floated through your day. You could have a conversation with me, and you looked me in the eye. You weren't somewhere else up in your own head. And I just remember the feeling of those, like, because I had thoughts that would loop around my head constantly. I was just in a spin. My head was so busy, and it was full of these negative thoughts, or just sad thoughts. Everything that I thought about related back to the trauma that I'd had, and it was just like a never-ending, exhausting loop of stuff. And I guess that's the anxiety as well. You know, I had severe anxiety by that stage. And that was gone. I can drive down a road now and think about the road.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And that's it. And it's clear. And then I'll realise 10 minutes later that all I've thought about is the road. And it's not that I'm empty-headed. It's not that at all. It's just that all that stuff has been taken away, and I can actually focus on what I'm doing. It's pure mindfulness. And I live it every day now. When I have a conversation, like I've sent a lot of my close people
so
to
you've actually recommended a lot of family members,
a lot of friends,
a lot of friends and everything, and they've all had amazing results. So it's not just a once off. You've actually, everyone that you've recommended has done really well, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and I'm so stoked that it's just happened this way, because, you know, I've got so many people around me now that are so thankful, and they're sending more people to you, which is all I want. I mean, I work with a bunch of stressed out people teaching, and I just, you know, I don't want to be afraid to, I know mental health is a very, it's a taboo subject, but I want to make it so it is talked about more, and it's not something to be feared. It's not. We all go through stuff.
It's not to be ashamed about.
No, it's
not.
Look,
if you had a kidney problem, you tell people about your kidney.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you've got depression, or if you've got dark thoughts, we're conditioned to be so ashamed of what's going on in the brain.
And people are literally afraid to talk about it. And with something like this, there's no way that I could have. I'm a very open person anyway, but I couldn't imagine not sharing this with my loved ones and my friends, and then with their loved ones and their friends, and because it is it is, I just see it as the answer to it's a modern day epidemic.
Yeah.
I know so many people that are depressed and anxious and just live with it. And I was one of them until I took the chance and came here, and I'm so grateful that I did.
So the process, compared to traditional therapy, because a lot of people come onto my website and they've been through traditional therapy, and if you compare traditional therapy to what we put you through, what would the experiences be? Is it more nurturing? Is what we do more nurturing? Is it more safe? Do you feel a lot more safer with it? Is it more comforting? Is it more relaxing? How would you describe it?
I look forward to having an appointment with you. I never, I've still got things that I have to work on. I am 3,000% better than what I was, but I've still got issues that I'd like to work on, and with the spa menu I can do that now. It's awesome. But with traditional therapy and things like that, going in, I was anxious and apprehensive, and I'd come out feeling washed, like I'd not. It was not. What's the word? Washed out, I guess. It was tiring, and it was emotionally draining. Coming here, it's the opposite. It's the complete opposite. You come in, you have your session, and you walk out feeling fantastic. You just feel like you can take on the world, and that's the best feeling in the world. It really is. When you've been in such a place that is so dark and awful, to feel like that. And I feel like that every day now. I wake up and I used to dread waking up. That's how bad my anxiety was. I used to get up and have a shower, and in the shower I would go through all the bad things in my life and how I was going to try and fix these bad things, and this was bad and that was bad, and this. By the time I got out of the shower, I was so far down that I just wanted to go back to bed. Even going back to bed was anxious. But now I wake up, I get stuff done. My work has just gone through the roof. I love going to work now, and even though it's a full-on job teaching, but I love it. And I actually have to be pulled away from work now on the weekends. My partner goes, "Come on, away from the computer, let's go," because I'm so
passionate,
focused, and my passion has come through. And I always loved my job, but it was always I was always a bit confused by, there's always new curriculum, and there's always new things to take on as a teacher. There's always new things to learn, and I was always a bit, what do I do here, and how do I do this? And as a teacher, it's your job to put all those pieces together in the puzzle and then get the best out of your children. And I never quite felt like I was getting there. And all of a sudden, I just get to school and I go, right, this is clear. I can do this. I'm choosing this way to go. Or we're choosing this way to go, with your collaborative teachers, and okay, let's push for that. And we need to do this, and to get there. And it's just, my mind is so sharp and clear with that.
So your decision making's better?
Oh.
Certainty,
yeah, and just the enthusiasm, the motivation, the taking action on things, even organising in my general life, paying the bills and all that sort of stuff.
So your brain's really healthy now, isn't it?
Oh, I feel normal.
Yeah.
Whatever, normal's a very, a word you shouldn't use, but I do feel like I'm coping with life, and anything else that gets thrown in the mix, I can deal with now. And parenting, because I've got a 5 and a 7-year-old, that's full on with full-time teaching.
And is it one of your children that are actually using the children's program as well?
Yeah, I've used it with both of them.
Yeah.
And my eldest, she was born prem.
Yeah.
So she had a fair few sensory issues. So with shoes and socks had to be the right, they couldn't have lumps in them, which is normal for a lot of kids, but she couldn't wear certain pants, things like that, and it caused her a huge amount of anxiety just putting shoes on in the morning. And it was a huge thing in the household that every morning we'd have to say, okay, don't let the shoes beat you, don't let the pants beat you, you control try and do it that way. And then when I asked Kylie if she had anything to help with anxiety in kids, yeah, absolutely, have this, take the home program. I played it for about 4 or 5 months, no problems. There's no more sensory issues, and it's just amazing.
It's really good. Do you know, and that's probably what we have to explain to the audience, that my work is safe for children and it's beautiful on kids, great on adults. You've actually had all different people from all different ages with different problems and everything like that. So it actually fixes people's problems regardless what the problems are.
Yeah. And you know what the best thing is, regardless of your attitude or your mindset, because you can overthink, you know, like my first session. Seriously, all the way through that. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. I had such a negative mindset, and it worked like, it was phenomenal. And even it doesn't, despite, because you can outthink yourself with, I don't know, I was on such a loop that my thoughts, I thought created my reality, and they do, but, I fully believed that, and I do still believe that. But this is kind of, after that first session, whatever attitude you come in with, it will work. Yeah. There's no, and I've sent so many people to you, and they've all had brilliant results. I know, my friends, my family, it's amazing.
So thank you very much. Now, you'd highly recommend this?
I could not recommend you more highly.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know about you.
Yeah.
And I try to make sure everyone knows about you. It's the answer. It's not, there's no drugs, there's no scary things. It is so simple, and that's what I love about it.
And
it's
it works.
So simple, and it works.
And
yeah. So thank you. So I can't even begin to thank you guys so much for what you've done for me. You've given me my life back. There's no other way to say it. And you've given my kids, here we go, a mum that can be there for them. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a big thing, sharing a story, especially when there's been so much pain and suffering, and losing a baby, is probably one of the biggest. It's up there with trauma and grief and everything, and to be able to sit there and tell your story without going through all that pain.
Yeah, I mean, these aren't painful tears. These are just relief, like just so. Yeah, I get so emotional about it because it is just, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Seriously, I don't think, without finding you, I can't even imagine what my life would be like right now. I just couldn't imagine it.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda.
Okay. No worries.
Thank you.
Anytime.
That's great.